anyone else never feel lonely? Now, I'm not talking to those that obviously have overcrowded home or a bunch of kids or husband, wife, pets, cats, dogs running around. It's more specifically, and I know you could still feel lonely, but it's more specifically for someone like me. Someone that has no pets, single, and living alone. I never feel lonely. Now, don't get me wrong. People are charming and I love them. I really, really do. As a matter of fact, I'm heading out today for a day trip to the hot springs here in Colorado with some friends that happen to live in the area of mine. And I love them and I adore them, and I'm going to have so much fun today because I always have a great time around them. But never in my life have I been hungry for company. I am so happy living alone, doing majority of things on my own, and then spending time with friends and family here and there sporadically, which also means I do miss my family. My family, since I've been traveling, my family, I miss terribly, but it doesn't mean I'm lonely. My daughter and I just hung out here in Colorado up in the mountains for a few days, and I absolutely loved it. It was so much fun. We always have the best time. She's one of my favorite travel buddies. And now that she's gone, I miss her dearly. I love her so much. I miss my son down in Florida. Every time I talk to him on the phone, it's so sad when we hang up because I miss him so much. I want to call him right back. And he's not big on FaceTime or even sending me updated photos, but he's a young man. I take what I can get. My family, everyone I miss so much, but I am not lonely. The lack of loneliness to me is a blessing. I would not be able to be traveling if I got lonely real easy. This has been something my whole life that I can tell you. It's nothing new. I've been reflecting a lot since I've been spending incredible amounts of time by myself here up in the mountains. And one of the things I realize is I think a lot of it is socially, it's unaccepted. It is getting better. People are starting to accept it better. But there's so many times people used to say, they finally given up, you shouldn't be alone. You need to be with someone. How do you travel alone? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that is just insane. And I don't judge them because it's in their mind. It's what they think is supposed to be happening. They have not left their little box. They don't realize there's a whole big, beautiful world out there, and that we do not need to rely on one another as much as we did hundreds and thousands of years ago. I've been living alone for many years, thriving and doing just fine. If I was constantly around somebody, it would socially drain me. I start getting like anxiety. I'm like, I gotta get away. So I do believe socially people are going to think you're supposed to be with someone. It is getting better. Even introverts are starting to be more accepted. I'm not by any means an introvert, nor am I putting them down. But I have realized more people are even taking ownership of it. They're like, hey, I'm an introvert and I'm proud of it. I just like being alone. Could it be after all these years, I've grown and learned how to be alone and to love and accept myself as I am? Or am I just messed up? Does anyone else feel this way? Does anyone else feel they are never lonely and they live alone, no pets, no significant other, they just live alone and they do the majority of things alone? Is it just me, or is there anyone else out there? Sometimes I feel people are in a rush, almost feel desperate to get into a relationship. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Have you ever met someone like this? Or maybe you've even done it currently or in the past? I've had friends that I remember one time I was talking to my one friend. This was in our probably 30s, and she had just got divorced. And I'm like, how are you doing? She's like, I cannot wait to get married again. My head was like, what? I didn't say nothing to her. That's her choice. I couldn't fathom the thought. I'm like, let the dust settle, man, before you get into another like her main goal was to get another relationship. Not like, hopefully someday I'll fall in love again. I'm going to start looking soon. No, she's like, I got to get me into a relationship. Another thing, I'm not going to mention too much because I don't want to put anybody down, but there was a woman. She was an elderly woman. As far as I know, she was married to her husband many, many years. And he may have been dying for a while. Like she knew he was going to die. I'm not sure of the entire situation. But this part I do know. He died. And within, I believe, 2 months, not was she dating, she was living with someone else. I don't know. She was seeing this person. She felt the need to go around kind of explaining the situation to everyone like she had just met him. But to me, that seems kind of fast. Like, to me, you're just quit grieving over my ex-husband who passed. And when I divorced, I just felt it wasn't right to jump right back in. I had left him and I just didn't want to rub anything in his face. Because at the end of the day, we were still friends. We had kids. We had to keep it together. But again, I beat to a different drum. I always have. But I just feel sometimes people are so desperate to get into a relationship. And I just don't think that's a good idea. What are your thoughts? Now, I'm not saying I'll never get into a relationship. I don't know, but could be possible someday, I don't know. I'm definitely not looking. And a big part is I know because the older I get, the more ways I notice guys are set in their ways and the more I'm set in my ways. And I've had in the past, and now I'm tainted, but I don't want to hurt anybody. And I definitely don't want to get hurt neither. So I don't want to hurt anybody because sometimes you start dating and I found, this is with me, that they'll give their best, right? They give their best and then it's a fake them. And then when they think they got you, everything settles and you're like, oh, wait, I don't like this. I want the person you gave me. Like, you told me you're adventurous and not just lay around watching TV all day. I'm a shaker and a mover. I can't stand sitting still. And I like to get out there. And that's the type of person. So they'll fake it. And then they're bring me down. I'm like, I can do bad on my own. I don't need someone else to do that for me. So now I got to get out of this crazy relationship. And here comes the crying, the anger, the bitter, the stalking, I don't need that crap. So sometimes I'm like, let me just skip all that and stay alone. I just don't need another human to make me happy. Well, one of the things I do to keep me happy and less lonely is I create a beautiful Zen-like place to stay in. So whether I'm traveling or wherever I'm at, hotels are easy because I just pick a beautiful hotel. But say I'm staying somewhere else, Airbnb or wherever, or even where I have my place, I always create a nice, peaceful, relaxed place where I can spend time there, enjoying myself, working on my projects, and just feeling so, so comfortable. And then that's when I also, I'm starting to think I'm more tainted than I thought, is if I had a pet or a man, that space would all of a sudden be disrupted. It wouldn't be as clean. It wouldn't be as peaceful and so Zen-like, right? Because now I got things in there. And so, I don't know, to keep from being lonely or never get lonely, is I always have a nice, peaceful place, my area, wherever, how big or small it is. It's my space and it's where I have my happiest moments. I don't get lonely. I genuinely love my space, and that helps a lot. And if you recently found yourself maybe looking at a situation where you need to get a roommate or you're going to be alone or something like that, create your little space. Make it yours by whatever it is, like soft, fluffy stuff, super comfortable seating areas, lighting, windows, plants, whatever it is, whatever makes you like, you walk in the room and you're like, I really like this. Do that. Make that space. And that should definitely help you if you are feeling lonely to feel less lonely. What tips do you have if you never feel lonely? I would love to hear them. And I'm sure others in the community would too. Now, there are days I find myself in between projects or just kind of relaxing or getting lazy, and I'll be sitting in my Zen space, just like doom scrolling on my phone. And I start to feel sad or lonely maybe then. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. I'm comparing myself to these fake lives. And I'm getting better and better. I hardly go on social media anymore. And when I do, I snap right out of it and I go do something, usually something outside. I love going for walks, and I'll go for a nice walk. And that helps me feel a lot less lonely too, or not less lonely. I'm sorry. Scott, edit that out. That helps me not want to never feel lonely. I don't feel lonely because I just don't compare myself to others on social media. Another way I never feel lonely is I've normalized talking to myself. You didn't think I was going to say that, did you? I think when you live alone, you're always alone, you're going to talk to yourself, whether it's talking out loud or talking in your head. And I've normalized it. I think it's perfectly fine. But again, like I might have said at the beginning, I beat to a different drum, always have. And I really honestly don't care if someone sees me talking to myself. Granted, I limit it when I'm outside, but it wouldn't be rare, especially if you have a headphone in or you're driving in your car. People just think you're talking to someone. But sometimes I just feel the need to talk out loud, to work through something, to create something, to whatever it is, or maybe just to hear another voice because I've been hanging out alone for a while. But yeah, normalize talking to yourself, perfectly okay. Another way I never feel lonely is reading and hobbies I have, such as photography. I love taking photos, and traveling. I love traveling, and I love traveling alone. I don't have to worry about a lot. And I know a lot of people are concerned about that, but let me tell you, it's not scary. So shut off the news. Quit watching the horrible YouTube videos that talk nothing but negative. Newsflash, that's the news. It's just their opinions. And it's putting crap into your mind. And the people that do watch it and thrive off of it is because they're looking for that. That's why the news only talks bad. And that's why some of the big YouTube videos are doing so great. It's negative. They never point out the good stuff. So even as far as traveling. And traveling alone is beautiful. Oh my gosh, I could do a video on that alone. It is so wonderful, especially for someone that likes to be alone. So if you're thinking of traveling, get out there. Here's a quick little example. I was on Netflix the other day and I was watching this little documentary. Usually I don't watch these type of things. It was a van life one. I'm like, interesting. I have no desire to do vans. Who knows? Maybe someday. I think it's mainly I won't do a van because where do you go to the bathroom? And even if it has it in there, who's going to clean it out? But anyways, the Netflix documentary, and if you haven't seen it, it's only 3 short episodes. It's really good. Gabby Petito, look her up. She met this guy and they were dating. They both seemed wonderful, whatever. And they got this van. They were traveling across the U.S. And she wanted to be a YouTube creator. And she was super cute, bubbly. She has one video up on her channel. It's millions of views. And the documentary's just fantastic. But anyways, they're traveling in this little tiny van. Personally, I would kill someone in that little tiny van. I could not be in that close quarters with someone else for days, weeks on end without them plucking my nerves, or they may want to kill me. Anyways, sadly, he does. He ends up killing her. I don't know. You can, if you've seen it, let me know why you think he did. I think because she was wising up and decided she wanted to be a solo traveler. She was way out of his league, and he knew that. And so out of a fit of rage, he just killed her and dumped her like a piece of trash. It was just so sad. She was just beautiful inside and out and really could have been someone. And even she knew solo traveling is where it's at. And she's like 22 or 23. If she would have been solo traveling, not with him, she would have been alive. Now, not to say solo traveling, you stay alive, but solo traveling, you stay alive. You make all your own decisions. You don't have someone else cornering you that's stronger than you. It was someone that supposedly loved her. I don't know. Anyways, that can't quit thinking about it. It was a beautiful documentary, and it reinforces to me, I'd rather be alone than locked up some cuckoo nuts that's, I don't know, whatever. That's my opinion. It's my 2 cents. Now, one of the beautiful things about living alone, being alone, and never feeling lonely is when I was selling real estate, I was working constantly, especially when I had my own business. I loved it. I loved it. And I remember I was trying to date, and guys would be like, you work too much. What? Who are you? What do you mean work too much? I don't work a day in my life. I love what I'm doing. So those little digs would get to me. Plus, if I had somebody, I had to come home, I'd feel time to spend with them, when my true joy was my real estate. I don't know, maybe if I found someone magnificent that could bring me up, wants to do things, was like me, that would have been different. I get it. But this way, I didn't have to answer why I was hanging out with these guys, doing these networking events or going here, going there. And you know what the big thing that would really aggravate me is when you're dating somebody and you go off with, I don't know, 1 or 2 guys because there's some networking event. You're just friends, you know this. And this guy you're dating is like, oh, you doing them? Yes. Clearly, I'm a easy, I don't want to say a bad word, easy chick, Thank you for thinking I'm nothing but a hoochie. Like, why would you even say that? Bye. Bye-bye. You're done. No, I can hang out with a guy and nothing physical can happen. Wow. So the guy asked me this. I'd be like, where are your morals? Anyways, it was just so much easier coming home, doing what I want, coming home when I want, leaving when I want, not having to answer to anybody, anytime, where I was. Still happens to this day. I can hang out, do whatever I want. I pick up phone calls from guys. I don't have to explain anything. It's beautiful. I love it. Another thing is also my ADHD. It helps keep me busy. And I've had people say to me, you should get that looked into. It's just a label. I don't know if it's really ADHD, but I've always been squirrel, shiny object. And it keeps me going. I've been very successful. I don't see the downside. And I'm never bored or boring because I'm always on to the next best, greatest thing. I try it, works, doesn't, whatever. I had fun doing it. When you live your life for you and you get out there and do your thing, you will never feel lonely. I know I don't. Thanks for watching. Till next time.